Nicola Sturgeon finally appears in front of the inquiry, and the Scottish Conservatives are to table a motion of no confidence in the First Minister. Hello everyone and welcome to today's programme. This is going to be about the SNP scandal because Nicola Sturgeon was in front of the inquiry in the Scottish Parliament. Before we start, I was going to do two videos. The second one was going to be about Rishi Sunak's budget. But unfortunately, that can't be done on time because I literally just came back from a funeral. So there's not enough time, unfortunately, to do that. It's going to be tomorrow's video about the budget that we had today. And at the end of the video, for the members of the channel, I'm going to give you the updates because we made some changes. The higher levels, the tiers that we had, activists and special advisors, are now gone. But YouTube actually have cancelled your membership. So you have to manually join we only have one tier, which is supporter. That means you're going to pay less, but you're going to get more out of it. Unfortunately, there was no automatic system. YouTube completely removed everyone. I asked them if there's a way for them to transfer. They didn't do it. I'm going to explain the whole thing at the end. But let's get on with the show because today, Nicola Sturgeon finally came and answered some questions that the Scottish Parliament had. This inquiry into her government and how she's handled the Alex Salmond inquiry. The Conservatives in Scotland created this graphic saying that Sturgeon must go because they have finally prepared to table a motion of no confidence in Nicola Sturgeon. Previously, they wanted to, and they have in the past done these motions of no confidence specifically in her deputy First Minister. But this one, they're actually going against her. Now, we're going to have the evidence. I'm going to show you the evidence that we have. But earlier today, Nicola Sturgeon's memory was suffering, and up to a point where, for those of you who are familiar with the BBC's comedy show, The Thick of It, there were some similarities. I'm going to show you this because she didn't know about an actual meeting, not a conversation, a meeting that she had just before she found out about Alex Salmond.
Not unreasonably at all. Some people have asked how I could have forgotten the conversation on 29th March, and I certainly wish my memory of it was more vivid.
Are you forgetful generally?
Well, it's hard to know how forgetful one is because you'd have to remember all the things that you'd remembered and all the things that you'd forgotten in order to compare the two. And how could I remember what I've forgotten because I've forgotten it by definition.
That was actually what happened today as well. But it's interesting because she remembers when she found out a couple of weeks later. She remembers that. But somehow, end of March, the actual meetings that she had, she completely forgotten about it. So if it's a case that, it's because it was 2-3 years ago, I don't remember that part. But there was another thing that happened 2-3 years ago, which was 2 weeks after. She remembers that. This is a massive lie. And it's going to be exposed even more because during this inquiry, she tried to spin it and make it all about Alex Salmond until the chair clarified that this is not about Alex Salmond, this is about you.
Behaviour on the part of Alex Salmond, and that is just...
First Minister. It's generally, it was 5 SNP ministers. And can I remind you, Alex Salmond is a key witness to this inquiry. He's not under trial. Your actions are, and if you could focus on that,
sorry,
that would be much appreciated.
My apologies, I was saying I hadn't heard anything. So.
Usually, Nicola Sturgeon is very good with media performances and being good at communication. Today, she suffered a bit because she knows that she's not telling the whole truth. We have the evidence now because until now it was just allegations, and we even have her own Lord Advocate who was asked what he thinks about of the whole establishment, the whole system, ever since he's been doing his job. What is his view? And this is the answer he had.
Douglas Ross.
Thank you, Convener. Lord Advocate, can I ask, since your appointment, what's the single biggest feeling you've identified in the Crown Office and Procurator for Fiscal Service?
I'm not... Well...
Poor guy, he doesn't know what to say. We had to wait for about 2 hours for him to actually come up with one word. It's very difficult for these people at this point because he doesn't even know, what is his feeling towards the whole Crown Office and the whole establishment. How have they been handling this thing? It's absolutely embarrassing because even the BBC, even the mainstream media, finally today decided to cover this. only because it was Nicola Sturgeon answering the questions. Finally, it was something that the BBC tried to focus on, and they tried to simplify it. This is actually quite interesting, and they said the key questions facing Nicola Sturgeon. We're going to go through some of them because some of them are easy to answer. You don't actually need some sort of inquiry for this because the evidence is out. In terms of Nicola Sturgeon breaking the ministerial code, that's in a case if she has misled the Scottish Parliament. This, specifically about the meeting she had. We now know that that meeting actually happened, and she should technically remember. But again, if she finally admits that she lied, then yes, she has broken the code. And was there a plot against Alex Salmond? So Alex Salmond claims that there was a plot. Nicola Sturgeon's husband, and the rest of the establishment in the SNP. So this has to be, we need actual evidence for this, because right now it's just an allegation. Again, Alex Salmond and his side might say that we know for sure. So that's getting closer as well. But was there a cover-up? This is... We know the cover-up. We know that even the establishment tried not to publish their own evidence because it was against Nicola Sturgeon. We know the cover-up was there, which goes to the next one, because the cover-up and the leadership failing is the same thing, because people like Leslie Evans, who's the top of the civil service in Scotland, destroyed the memos, the actual notes, the notebooks that she had about the meetings with Nicola Sturgeon. They're all gone, because she says after each meeting she destroys the notes, the minutes, straight after. Then why do you take the notes if you're going to destroy them straight after? It's all a bit dodgy anyway at this point. Even the BBC mentioned this, but they don't want to take sides. This one is easy. Did the government waste taxpayers' money? Yes, they did. Over £500,000 wasted on this, even though the legal advice told the government, the Scottish government, that you're going to lose. They still did it. Nicola Sturgeon still said, yes, let's waste the taxpayers' money, over £500,000, on something that I know I'm going to be losing. This is why now even the City AM has reported that she is now facing calls to resign over these revelations. It's now time. This is happening. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now, that there is a movement to make sure justice actually exists somehow in Scotland. It's now time for the move against Nicola Sturgeon, because she told Parliament that she only found out about these allegations on the 2nd of April 2018. But then we now have 2 additional witnesses that today provided written submissions to the committee in which they confirmed that the meeting between Sturgeon and Salmond's former chief of staff happened on the 29th of March 2018, a few days before. So this, as I said earlier, for some reason, she doesn't remember the 29th of March one, but she remembers the 2nd of April one. It's very interesting that, after a few days, her memory completely got destroyed. This is why the Conservatives in Scotland are now tabling a motion of no confidence in the First Minister, which will change everything in terms of the way the SNP have been operating in Scotland. Now, the reaction also talks about this idea that Nicola Sturgeon says that she didn't want to intervene to come between the people who were accusing Alex Salmond and the Alex Salmond side. She said, I didn't do that. But a former member of the SNP actually said that I can confirm that the First Minister did offer to assist with discussed mediation. My clear recollection is that her words were, if it comes to it, I will intervene. So the fact that Nicola Sturgeon says that I did not offer to get involved, I didn't really want to do it, I didn't do anything, and then we now have more witnesses saying that no, she actually did ask me. She said I could actually intervene and do this. They actually said that I can confirm that this evidence is given to the very best of my recollection. I am prepared to provide the same evidence under oath in an affidavit. So he's willing to do it. So that he knows that he's not perjuring himself. And this motion of no confidence is going to be happening, apparently. Her spokesperson, Nicola Sturgeon's spokesperson, came out to say on this issue that the First Minister will address all of these issues raised, and also the committee and everything else. But the biggest point is to call a vote of no confidence in the middle of the pandemic before hearing a single word of the First Minister's evidence is utterly irresponsible. Okay, so because we were going through the lockdown and all these issues, it's bad timing to table a motion of no confidence because it's political. But it's okay in the middle of lockdown and pandemic to go for an independence referendum vote, because that's what the SNP want. the SNP have been calling for a Scottish referendum for the past few months. Well, they've been doing it for the past few years, but, you know, they've been wanting to have one in the middle of the lockdown. So that's okay to have a referendum on the Scottish, for something that's already been voted on recently. But no confidence, which is about the leadership of the Scottish government. Oh no, that's bad timing, guys. That's bad timing. Now we had the SNP minions coming out to defend Nicola Sturgeon. Angus Robertson came to said that, oh, they're just all conspiracy theorists. You know, they've been attacking. You know, they're all against the good people of the SNP and don't believe them. They're all basically like Trump. I don't know what that means, but that's what he said. And hashtag I stand with Nicola. You think that's bad? The Justice Minister, the guy in charge of the Justice Department in Scotland, Humza Yousaf. Yeah, this guy is actually the Justice Minister. Decided to do a live commentary on Twitter and live tweet the whole thing in an angry manner. Oh dear, Murdo Fraser getting shouty, demanding the First Minister direct the police Scotland to carry out an investigation. That is not how it works. So, well, getting the police involved. This is the same guy, by the way, who wants to send the police into your home if during dinner time you accidentally make an offensive joke and a family member gets offended, the police will go to your house. He wants to do that. He wants to use the police to come to your home, but he doesn't want the police to get involved with this. He continues by then attacking Jackie Baillie, who, by the way, like Jackie Weaver, has the authority. Because on this committee, Jackie Baillie has been amazing from the Labour Party. He said that Jackie Baillie is rattled. The House of Cards conspiracy she's trying to stack up is falling to pieces. First Minister direct in her responses. She had nothing to gain from these allegations becoming public. Ooh, okay, breathe, everybody breathe. But they had all these other SNP minions just ranting on Twitter, spinning the whole thing against the rest of the UK and the Tories and the Union flag. They had this guy who's a Europhile as well, saying that, oh, is the Union flag really necessary on this butter? By the way, he's complaining about the flag being on the butter because, oh, I'm guessing his problem is virtue signaling. Why do we need a flag? Have you seen his bio? He's got the EU flag, the Irish flag, the Scottish flag, but the Union flag on the butter. That's out of control. That's too bad, guys. Too much. This is the state of the SNP in Scotland right now, and it's absolutely embarrassing the way they've been handling this whole situation. Now, as I said, tomorrow I'm going to give you the update on Rishi Sunak. Apologies again, didn't have enough time today, came from a funeral. But update for the members. I mentioned this earlier. So, we've changed the membership because we used to have 3 different tiers. We had the supporters, then we had activists and special advisors. We decided to actually make it more, like, simplify it and fair for everybody. So those of you who've been paying a lot more in the past, you actually will be paying less. And we've added more benefits, by the way. So currently you get, obviously, the weekly Q&As on Mondays, regular video calls with me and Lacey. We're going to introduce weekly newsletters each Sunday as well. So that's going to be a new one. And also free access to events. Now that the lockdown is going to be finished, we're going to do events. So free access to the members and discounted merchandise. So the problem is that I asked YouTube to move everyone from the higher tiers to the lower tier. They can't do that. So they've cancelled all of you. So those of you who've been until now part of the activist level or the special advisors, you've now been refunded. So you're going to have to, if you want to remain a member and actually pay less, you have to manually then click on a join button, become a member again. But then that way you'll be getting more, paying less. So that's much better. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you're not a member, become a member because you will be getting all the perks that I mentioned earlier on. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.